We are back, and we are joined now by Brian Concannon, Executive Director of the Institute for Justice and Democracy in Haiti. Brian has been on the show before talking about Haiti. I believe you were on here last time as well to discuss some of the tumult there. Brian, thank you so much for coming on today.
Well, thank you, Emma, for having me on Majority Report. It's always good to be with you.
Oh, always good to have you. Although the developments that we're seeing here, not ideal. The UN's Security Council has authored a mission to Haiti, which includes Kenyan troops, and this is clearly backed by the United States. Where are we at right now with that UN mission, if you don't mind catching our audience up to speed?
Sure. The quick update is that this week, the mission was approved by the Security Council. It's not going to be a UN mission. It's going to be run by Kenya. The UN knew that the mission would have to do things that the UN did not want to take blame for, especially shooting Black people in poor neighborhoods. And that problem of not wanting to be seen shooting Black people in poor neighborhoods has been the theme of the mission ever since it was proposed over a year ago. The United States, as you mentioned, is behind it. The United States wants it, but the administration does not want cell phone videos of white U.S. soldiers shooting Haitians on the internet. So it first reached out to Canada. Canada said it wouldn't take the job. So then it reached out to CARICOM countries in the Caribbean. They said it was a bad idea. Then Brazil, then countries in West Africa. And now finally, after a year, they finally gotten Kenya to join in. And it isn't because Kenya's long history with Haiti. Kenya's had full diplomatic relationships with Haiti for about 2 weeks. It's not because Kenyans and Haitians share the same language. They don't. It's really because the United States gave the Kenyan government enough money to be willing to do this dirty work.
That is a kind of terrifying situation then, because obviously this means that these troops, Kenyan troops, don't necessarily have the kind of oversight that you would want. And I know that previously there have been some human rights concerns about some of the Kenyan police forces here. If you don't mind talking a bit about that.
Sure. The Kenyan human rights groups are complaining that the Kenyan police are systematically attacking protesters and government dissidents. That's actually exactly what they're supposed to be doing in Haiti, or one of the things they're going to be doing in Haiti. And we know that because that's what happened last time. So this mission is being sent to prop up a corrupt, unpopular government in Haiti. The current government has not a single elected official in office. The same type of dynamic happened in 2004 when there was a coup d'etat and President Aristide was kidnapped. The U.S. brought in a UN force to prop up the resulting government and to protect it against popular cries for the return of democracy. And that mission was, shooting bullets. In one incident, 22,000 bullets were shot into a poor neighborhood in a single morning's operation. They also arrested political dissidents. They brought cholera to Haiti. They were involved in illegal arrests. And all of this, there was Haitian civil society and supporters in the United States. We tried to work the UN accountability mechanisms, and we actually were not highly successful, but apparently there is just too much accountability even within the limited UN system for this mission. So they're making it a side mission that's just officially between Kenya and Haiti, which the idea is that it's going to be harder for Haitians to complain about human rights violations.
And how much of this is driven basically by the United States? I mean, you may answer this a little bit at the top, but exerting its pressure here on the Security Council and its influence as well, and basically allowing for U.S. interests to be protected by a force that is essentially kind of a hired mercenary group on behalf of U.S. What the U.S. wants to get done there.
That's exactly right. This is a hired guns to come in, and what they're supposed to be doing is to restrain Haitians' demands for democracy. You know, the current government, it's often talked about as a mission that's there to fight gangs, except the problem is they're coming in to support a government that is broadly implicated in gang activity. Over 21 current or former members of the current ruling political party are under sanctions in Canada or the United States for corruption and drug trafficking and working with gangs. Human rights groups in Haiti, Harvard Law School, a host of other U.S. law schools have issued reports and statements documenting how the current government is involved in gangs, involved in corruption. And that is really who we're being sent to prop up. And, you know, I'm saying this as someone, I was a UN volunteer in Haiti in the 1990s. I believe in the UN. I was a volunteer for President Biden's campaign because he vowed to put human rights at the center of his foreign policy. And it's deeply disappointing to me that we're at this crossroads with both the Biden administration and the UN really doing damaging things for Haiti. And it's of course infinitely more difficult for Haitians because they're going to bear the direct brunt of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least my opinion is if the Haitian people need some sort of support from the United States, foreign support in terms of aid, in terms of aiding in the democratic electoral process, which still has not happened, I am all for that. But that's not what this is based on my reading. And I guess we should go back in time slightly to talk a bit about how we got to this point. President Jovenel Moïse was assassinated around 2 years ago, and Ariel Henry is the current leader of Haiti, unelected, still in office, and democratic elections have not been held. How is that political environment underlying this entire situation?
Oh, it's completely underlying it. And to go back a little bit further, Henry and Moïse are part of governments run by the PHTK political party that's run Haiti since 2011. And the party has systematically dismantled Haiti's democracy. They've let parliament go without having elections, so there's no parliament. They've completely politicized the judiciary. They've politicized the police. They've politicized the entire public service, while draining money from basic government functions in order to feed their corruption machine. And it's really to the United States' shame that is who we are backing in Haiti. And there's a better way. Just last week, the National Haitian American Elected Officials Network, so this is all of the Haitian Americans who are serving public office in the United States, they sent a letter to Secretary of State Blinken. They warned him that this mission was going to make was going to turn Haiti's crisis into a catastrophic crisis. They pleaded with him to do a simple thing. So instead of a very expensive mission to send troops there, all they asked was that the U.S. stop propping up the current repressive government. They don't want the U.S. to spend any money. They don't want them to do anything other than to stop propping up the government. Haitians are convinced that if the U.S. stopped propping up the government, that they could apply pressure to force the government to negotiate towards a transitional government and fair elections. If international troops are necessary, a transitional government can make that decision legitimately for the Haitian people. But right now, to send a force that's in support of a corrupt, repressive government is, as Haitians have said over and over again, a recipe for more disaster.
Additionally, because as you mentioned earlier, we have seen this happen before, and the violence that ensued and the cholera that was imported in, I mean, that it had devastating effects. And so the question here is why is the Biden administration continuing to support this unelected government? I understand that he's friendly and there is some sort of transactional relationship, but it's quite glaring, especially when, you know, for example, I remember a few years ago, Biden had this summit on promoting democracy abroad, and I think he invited what was the opposition leader's name in Venezuela?
Juan Guaido.
Juan Guaido, right? Exactly there. So and that was so, you know, obviously that's as silly as it gets, but But this is clearly a flies in the face of promoting democracy internationally.
Yeah, well, equally silly, at that same summit, they invited Haiti's unelected prime minister, Ariel Henry.
Oh.
So this is a clear Haiti is part of a double standard where the United States is making, and the Biden administration are making pronouncements of support for principles of democracy, but in practice, just completely ignoring them. And, in terms of why they're doing it, it's clearly not for the reasons they state. If you talk to members of the State Department, the answers they give are completely inconsistent with what's happening on the ground. And they'll talk about supporting democracy, but it's almost Orwellian to support democracy by continuing to prop up a government that won't hold elections and has not a single elected official in office. We've actually spoken with members of Congress. We've asked them, what's going on? What's the reason? And they say the same thing. They say that when they talk to the State Department, they do not get answers that make sense, that they're not consistent with the policy. What most people believe is that this is primarily driven by electoral politics, that the Biden administration wants to keep from being blamed for Haiti in a way that will hurt it electorally, so that right now, if the administration is not being blamed, and no matter how bad things get, the administration's not being blamed, and they're hoping that that's going to continue through the year, through the election next year. So as long as the current government is in place, no matter how repressive it is to Haitians, at least it's not affecting the Biden administration. But I think this changes. This is, as you mentioned, this is the U.S.'s mission, and I think the Biden administration is going to own this. And I think they are, even if it's not formally accountable, because they made it this strange mission where it's a non-UN mission. I think that the Biden administration is viewed in Haiti and increasingly is viewed in the United States as behind it. So they really own this.
Yeah, my first reaction was, how in the world could he believe that this would have any bearing on his 2024 election? But then you realize that it's all about the border. It's all about the influx of Haitian migrants coming into the United States seeking some sort of refuge. But my question would be to Blinken and to Biden is, how do you think that propping up an undemocratic regime that clearly is not doing much about gang violence in Haiti, how do you think that that's going to help some Haitian migrants remain in Haiti as opposed to coming into the United States and seeking asylum?
Yeah. The Haitians at the border today, and the Haitians that have come in through the different programs over the last couple of years, they were driven from their homes. Most of them want to stay in Haiti. They were driven from their homes by a combination of political persecution and economic persecution. As the government has stolen more money, it has wrecked the economy. Inflation's been over 20% for the last 3 years. There is wasting hunger among children in Haiti, which Haiti's never had. And all these things are driving people out of Haiti to seek, it's an absolutely horrible, perilous passage through the Darien Gap and through other places, to get to the U.S. border. Haitians only do it out of absolute desperation. And we are helping to create those conditions of absolute desperation by supporting this government. It's obviously a common sense move to allow democracy to come back. And it's not going to solve all of Haiti's problems immediately, but it is going to keep them from getting worse. And it's going to give Haitians hope for the future. I talk with Haitians almost every day on the phone, and people who've had hope for the future for the 30 years I've been working on Haiti, they're finding it harder and harder to believe that there is a way of Haiti to get out, because the United States won't let it.
Well, Brian Concannon, Executive Director of the Institute for Justice and Democracy in Haiti, thank you so much for coming on and giving us this update. I'm sure we'll be in touch in the future, given the developments and the deployment of these Kenyan troops to Haiti. Thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Emma, for covering Haiti.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.